And I do a lot of welding and fabrication work down here, and then it just gets pretty nasty here, both for welding fumes and dust and other stuff. So then it would be pretty nice to have an extraction system to just be able to suck a lot of that stuff out. And then I did find 2 of these fume extraction arms and one of these big fans on an auction, and they are of this brand, however you pronounce that I don't really know, and they're meant for exactly as sucking out welding fumes. And I just thought we're gonna put this fan up in the corner over there, and then we're just gonna put some pipe up in the roof over the bench and get one extraction arm over the bench. And we're also gonna put one up here in the roof, but so we can easily get rid of it. So then if I'm working on something that I have to be on the floor with and want to suck out some fumes or something there, I can do that. And if you wonder, this is a video I filmed actually probably last fall, and then I just kind of forgot about it. That's also why the tractor is in here, and it's not as good filmed or everything as I like, but thought it was still good enough to make a video out of it, so take it for what it is. And if you've seen some videos on the tractor there, the 430, and wonder what is happening with that, well, nothing really. Actually, I haven't gotten back to that, sadly. I just had too much other stuff to do, really, to get time for that. But hopefully in a few weeks I'm gonna get back on that and hopefully get this done really soon, because I want it done before the winter really kicks in. And here I'm just removing this piece of drywall to get a pipe up through the roof here for the exhaust from the fan, in lack of a better word. Ended up pretty exactly where I wanted it to, so that is perfect. But you can see brown, it's kind of wires, but I think you can push them all out of the way enough. So I just need one of these, this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the other one, just kind of, or it's in the way I should say. So we don't need that. We just need this one. Now these bolts are too long. So now it should just be two. Actually, you know what? These holes, I'm gonna drill those two, and the same on this side. I'm gonna drill those to 8 millimeters. So now I can drill some holes straight through the wall and just put some threaded rods for the wall to hold this in place, which I think is the strongest way of doing it, because this fan is probably gonna vibrate, and if you just put some screws into it, it's probably just gonna fall off. Because it's not a wooden wall, so you can't just screw in. Just, I don't know what you call it. I can put it on the screen what you call the block it was made out of, but yeah. They're kind of soft and porous, so you can't really screw into them. And get a whole lot of holding power from the screw. So that should be really good with this now. So this thing is kind of weird, I mentioned, because this doesn't fit. And this is just one of the pipes, which, well, doesn't fit great, but I think you can kind of use some small bolts and just clamp this together, and then just put some glue around it and glue this in there, and then just have a short piece. So as you can just put one of these in it, and then you can just continue with the pipe. This thing just barely fits on my bench here, but it works. So, because we want to have this thing as, you know, close to the roof as possible, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this piece, which we doesn't need. And then this wire is just for that light and for also turning the fan on. So I'm gonna mark it, but I'm just gonna cut it off and leave it here so we can, you know, if we want it in the future, we have it. And then I'm gonna make this thing shorter here. Probably just gonna go ahead and cut this off and move this up a little. And also turn it around so these are pointing down. Then I should get it pretty close to the roof, I think. Oh man, that is tight. It's just one. Oh, man, that is tight. Oh, there we go. There we go. And this thing should be able to pull off. Yeah. So that is gone. And this is just an automatic blast gate, I suppose. So when you aren't using this exact extraction arm, it is closed, so you get all the airflow to another one. But, and we would like to have it, but this one also has this one. So we're just gonna use this thing for this arm, and the other one doesn't have one, but we're gonna put this one on the other one, but we're just gonna have it manually. So I'm just gonna move, no, like that. I'm just gonna move it down that much, from being that to exactly right there. And then I'm just gonna drill a new hole right here on either side, and then cut it off right there. And I know these two won't be connected after I cut it off, but it shouldn't matter. Cut this wire off and mark what it's for. So this thing is all done now, ready to put up. But I'm gonna continue with this thing. I kind of cleaned this up here. Well, there we go. Clean that up there. So okay, not great, but it is okay clean. And it started raining. I'm sorry for all the noise, but that's also why I'm in here and not at the other side, because that is yeah, doing something and making a lot of noise. No, that's way too slow. No, I'm just kidding. Cutting a little hole here so I can get the blade in. And this sounds a lot. So this thing is just so sloppy in here. So I'm not sure how we're gonna do this, but what I think is I'm gonna take and cut like this thing into a couple pieces, and then I can kind of make it smaller. And then I'm just gonna put this in here, put a bunch of glue around the outside, and then I'm just thinking I'm just gonna put some bolts around this, bolt this together and get it, you know, good enough is perfect, I think, in this application. And then this is not what it's gonna be here, but then I can just put whatever into there. Actually, that was better than I thought. So it doesn't look too bad actually. It looks better now when I kind of got this stuff all the way kind of smeared around here, smoothed out. And here I put a little piece. You can't really see it, but because you get all covered up. But yeah, that should be good. Just have to dry completely, and the airflow might get a little obstructed or by this edge here, but yeah, there's not much I can do about it. So I know this isn't the right kind of drill here, but I'm gonna try it because the one that I thought to use is not here. It's yeah, so I can use it. problem is that this isn't a hammer drill. This just turns. It doesn't hammer in, so it's gonna take forever. But so I did forget to hit record, but I cut a couple pieces of threaded rod here. So I should try to lift this whole thing up, put it there, and put these in the holes. So that is looking pretty good. And as you can see, it's kind of long, but yeah, we'll see about that. I did think about maybe making these, remaking it, modifying it a little bit to make it so you can do like that one, make it, you know, shorter and pull it in and out on both of these sections. So we'll see about that, but there we go. And I know that this is kind of short here, so I'm gonna have to move that over a bit to make that work. Yeah, we'll have to see about that later. But I am pretty happy because I think I will be able to use 245s here instead of having to go up 90 and then 90, which is no good. Because you want to, you know, the best for the airflow is to have, you know, one big straight pipe. So that's kind of what you want to, you know, go after. And you want as little bends as possible because that is resistance, kind of the air, you know, have to turn 90 degrees. That slows it down, you know, not super much, but if you have a lot of 90s and or bends, as you say, especially 90 degrees that are sharp, that kind of slows it down. But yeah, especially if you have to go like 90 and then 90, you know, again, it's slows it down. So you less sharp bends you have, you better it is. So, got the line put back in place that I never needed to take down, and I also checked this, and this seems to be pretty perfect. And I cut these off so I can fold the bench up, and they should go, you know, end the bench and end right here, I think. At least it's the same height as that one over there. And I thought to drill some holes and put some more, but this is just plenty enough secure. But I'm gonna put some little these in here, and that should be just to hold it, you know, it's a little floppy, so just hold it in place. It's really those up there that is holding it, and it, you know, it's probably enough, but you know, why not? There's some holes there, so. But those would not be enough to just put, because this thing is probably gonna vibrate, and then it's just gonna shake loose and just fall down, so. I think that's good. And these are some special screws that is designed to go into these bricks. Was very short actually, this blast gate. It was that short because the other one was this long or something like that. And this one is also really short. That is actually very nice because I thought it would be longer, but yeah, because then I think it fits better if it's shorter. Bends. And a big T here. And then we got two 90s. Two long 90s, the other ones are short 90s. You can kind of see the difference here. They're a lot shorter, but if you can use one of these long ones, it's much better for the airflow. It doesn't kind of stop the airflow as much. So now I got the whole bench full of parts here, but I don't really, well, you can start over there with the fan actually. So, well, I had to get some gloves on here because I already cut myself on, because they are super sharp, these edges here. But what I'm gonna do is put this on here, and then this is gonna go right here. I just have to make a piece that goes here and right here. Just gonna have to hold it in place there, and then just try to measure how long it's gonna be. So that's about 9 centimeters and that's 10 centimeters, so 10 and 9. Just pull that out. Gonna mark 10 here. So I got a couple pieces cut here. So let's see if we can get this in place now. Not really sure how though. I'm gonna pull this out, I think. Push that together. And just push that on. There we go. Off that like that. And now's the problem, we're getting this in here. Well, there we go. That wasn't even too bad. So now I'm going to start right here. We're going to go 45 in here, and then this is going to go in here. And that is, so in the winter time, the air is, you know, it's cold outside, and then the pipe gets cold. But it's hot down here, so hot air rises. And then hot air also holds a lot of moisture, but when it goes up through the pipe, cools down, and cold air doesn't hold as much moisture, so then it's gonna get condensation on the inside of the pipe, and it's gonna rain down, you know, through the pipe and into the fan, and you know, you don't want that. So then you just put one of these on, so you can just close it up, and then the air can't rise. And these are actually closed up pretty much completely. Might be a little airflow, but not much. So, and I think I can squeeze one in, like, and this is not easy to get in, right? There we go. It's not gonna come out on its own, at least. And I don't think I can squeeze this in right there. I got one of these multi-tools here, or whatever they are called, and I'm gonna try to, should have done this before we put the fan up, but I'm gonna cut out here and over here so I can get the pipe up and move these around a bit. So I've cut a piece that I think should be the right length, and I'm gonna put a 45 on the end here, like that. And I'm gonna try getting this up here through the hole here. Just to push the wires out of the way. Like that. And this is just gonna go like that. So let's just take a measurement here. Roughly 17. So let's see here. Will this fit now? Sure hope so. I think I should make that like 2 centimeters shorter. So let's try this again. No, that's not gonna go there. And the good thing with this kind of pipe is that even if it's not the perfect angle, you know, 45, it should be just a hair more, you can actually angle it kind of in the pipe. So it gets pretty good. I think that's good. You can just open and close it right there. That actually turned out pretty good right there. I'm up here now, and I got that all cleaned up really nice around there. And I got my favorite goop here. So let's go ahead and put a lot of that around to seal that all up, so no water is gonna get down there. So what I'm gonna do is just to really push this down in the gap between the pipe and the sheet metal that is here on the roof. Or, yeah, the roof, I suppose. Yeah, that is kind of hard to get in here. Well, there we go. That's better. So we got a lot on here now. Just gonna try to smooth this out as good as I can here. Trying to make a nice, good seal around here. Or, maybe not nice actually. I'll take that back. But a functional seal. So let's continue down here now. And the pipe is gonna go along up here. And I need to hang it up somewhere. For that I'm gonna use this. So let's go ahead and just cut up some pieces of this. I didn't think about that. You need about that much, I think. I'll try that at least. Somewhere around there. That did fit okay, but which hole was it? I think it was that hole. I don't need any more than that. So I'm gonna cut it like that much water. So I think that's pretty good actually. Probably should put one over here later, but I'll continue over that way first. Get another one of these up right here somewhere. What I'm doing here is just taking a tongue really and just bending that 90 degrees in both ends. And then this is just to put the screw in and screw it up. Should I put it here maybe? Yeah, we'll put it right there. So I got most of this pipe put up here, and I just had the electricity hooked up to the fan there, so let's see if it works. Just gonna have to open that up, and this one is the easiest to open up. And I just went and checked the breakers, and 2 breakers popped. It's free for the 3 phases, so I don't know why 2 popped, but they did. So I turned those on again. Said I didn't film it, but tried to turn the fan on again, but then it just said bang, and the GFCI popped, which really just means the motor is shorted out to, or the windings in the motor is shorted out to the ground, so the motor is just junk, so that's gonna have to be replaced, but I'm gonna make a different video about that. And I've had some more lights put up here. So I can see something in here, or at least a little better, because it was kind of dark down this side when it was just one lamp over here, but now it's a lot better. It's all dark outside. But what we're gonna do now is to start working on this thing to make a mount for it, so it can hang from the roof right there. And then another thing is that ended up in about the worst spot, because when you know, this thing here is just gonna hit that, which is stupid, but kind of is what it is now. I'm not gonna bother move it. And you know, this can't go much higher there, and it's almost on the bench. You maybe wonder what I'm gonna do here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe permanently take it out, or make it so you can push this in and out, so you can make, you know, this here will be, you know, half a meter or so off the bench maybe, when it's, you know, as far up as it will go. I think that'll be a lot better. This is a pipe here that was put on here when we bought this thing, because that's nothing like. So this thing with the, you know, straight end here just fits over here really nice, over there, or on this part here. So I'm just gonna put some little self tappers in here to hold that in place. Then I'm gonna use these pipes here, I think, put them like that, and then I'm just gonna make a little U-shaped piece that is gonna go piece up here and then here. And then I can just take this whole thing and just hook it onto a little thing I'm gonna do that is gonna permanently sit on the roof. So it just takes like a minute to just hook this up and put the pipe in. So got these pieces cut, and then I'm gonna just put this on here a bit and then just weld it. I know it's super sloppy, but just gonna have to be like that. And I'm just gonna cut a piece that is 65 and then one that is 63. 65. 63. So got a couple holes drilled here, so let's get these bolts put on here. Cut a little piece here that fits. Right there, I think. So, got this thing made here, and it turned out really good, I think. Even if I couldn't bend these here. So, let's go ahead and make what this thing mounts to. here's how I'm gonna make it. And you saw me cut these pieces, but I thought to just put them like this, but this is much better, I think. So all this garbage, and I just cut some new pieces here to put on either side. And then these just go here. Actually, they're probably gonna go more like this, but so I got both of them welded up here, and this thing fits really nice in here. No, not that way. Just slides right in there. Perfect. So let's go ahead and drill some holes in this, and then it is just to mount them. Holes drilled now, but I need to put this together first because I need some measurements so I know where to put the other pieces. That's bolted on now, and something I didn't think about it. This whole part maybe wasn't the smartest to make out of solid steel because it weighs it weighs a ton. But so now I can put this 90 on here. Found some small little sheet metal screws, so I'm just gonna screw them in to hold this 90 in place. I marked up here where I want it, and let's see if I can get it in place now. I got a couple temporary screws in there, and what I'm actually screwing into is that, which is what goes along from wall to wall here and actually holds up the roof. So I'm not just screwing into, you know, this little thin stuff that is just holding up the drywall. I think that's what it's called. And what I'm gonna use to screw it up permanently is these big ones, whatever they are called. They are. The threads here at least 10 millimeters, and this maybe is 7 or something. Big heavy duty screws that should hold this up, or have more than plenty of strings to hold these up. Look, I just stripped it. Just spinning in there. This thing that I was using with these big screws here was a little too much for it. I think it should. Up here. So, this is finally in place here. And as you can see, these screws are very crooked, like angled. And I know, but that is because between, like, I don't know if you call it joist or whatever it's called, between that joist and that one, it's like the center of both of them, between the center of both, it is 62 centimeters, and it should be, or you know, should be 60. I thought I think at least over there it was 60, and it's usually 60. But it's not, it's 62 here, and that's why it's angled. Because if not, I'd like remake it to move this over 2 centimeters. But I think they hit pretty good in there, so that should be all solid, and everything looks good here. And then I secured this up here with nothing to screw there, so I put these pieces of wood there, and yeah, so this piece is all nice and solid. Still have to make a little handle on here to turn it, and secure it a little better over there, and then I'm pretty much done. Perfect. And I think this turned out just great. It moves nice and easily around here. I have to cut the pipe off, it's a hair long. Or, I mean, I could have moved them over that way, but yeah, I was just gonna cut it off, like, right there. And this just moves around like this, nice and easily. Then you can extend it quite a lot actually. And then this, you get a little band-aid here. It was a couple pretty big holes, and same right there was some big holes. So that's all patched up now. Shouldn't be leaking. And I did take the one that was most beat up. The other one is in a bit better shape, but I don't know. Now I took this one. This is also a bit dented up here, but yeah, pretty happy with this. Should be really nice to have. I just have to make that one a little shorter sometimes so it actually works. So this thing is all finished now, and I spent a little time getting that fixed up there. So this is all secured here with a couple little screws there, so that's not going to slide off when you pull the pipe off. And yeah, so that's all good there and everything. That is secured, and also have made a little handle here now, so you can open and close that easily. And I put some insulation up there. Some new insulation up there, around there, and we got one thing left, and that is to put this back to cover up that hole there. But I have to cut out a notch here. And I was I was so happy that I didn't break this, and then I should just put it in, and I just touched the wall here, and it broke. Freaking thing. Suppose we could just break the rest of it. Ah, dang piece of shit. It's pretty good now. Yeah, I think that'll work even if I broke it right there. So this piece is in place here. It's just way too large hole around there, and then that little piece in there too. I have to, yeah, I don't know. This kind of turned out terrible cut here. Me being kind of impatient, not taking enough time to measure it out good and everything. I know that it turned out kind of terrible, but whatever. It's something that is covering it up that hole now at least, and I maybe put a little something around that hole, little piece of sheet metal or something, just to close that in a little more later. We'll see. Right now I'm gonna just do, I think it's pretty quick. I just loosened this up here, and if I can just pull this up, this is just a square tube, and I want to make this shorter. It's really just to cut it off to make it shorter and drill a hole and put this piece, you know, further up. So let's do that. Just gonna cut the zip tie here. Make this a wire so you can turn the fan on and off here, but then you need a whole relay box and wire all that up, which was just harder to do than just put a little quick switch as I did over there. And this thing slides down. That's annoying. And this hose here is gonna be a little too long, but I don't think that matters. I don't think that matters too much. So we're gonna cut it off right there. So I'm gonna unbolt it here. Take that off and mark where the new hole is gonna be. That. Be the center right there. So that was a very dull drill bit, but I got through it eventually. Some good pieces. The bolt through and I did that. There we go. It's a lot shorter now, but I still think it's long enough. I will cover the whole bench, but, or maybe I should say, I don't know. Either way, it goes a lot higher. Now you got enough, clearance between the table and this thing. And that should also be using it over here. Huh. Didn't think about that. Now it's kind of too short. Huh. Can't really use it over the visor button. That's kind of dumb. Kind of doesn't go, this part doesn't go far back. Far enough back now. Huh. That's stupid. I thought about making this thing extendable, but yeah, I can still do that. I'm just gonna save this piece here and yeah. I can do that in the future. For now it will at least work a lot better than it would have done before, because before it would have been pretty much down here if I was under this pipe here. So, finally, after, I don't know how long this video is, but whatever, way too long, this is finally done. Just really nice with this pipe here and everything. I'm really happy with this. How all this turned out. Yeah, I'm just really happy with this and I think it should work great. Pretty easy to take this out. It's kind of hard with a new rubber seal, but I think if you use this a bit, it will get a little easier to pull this pipe off. Because if you do it on this one that have been used, it's a lot easier. This one, the pipe just slips on and off a lot easier than the new one. Yeah, and this also turned out good, I think. It's kind of weird having this so short now, but whatever. And I haven't you watched this whole video without kind of showing this, how it works, so we'll just skip ahead in time a little bit. Well, I guess we were actually skipping ahead like quite a long time, because this is the day when I'm posting this video actually. But yeah, just a new motor there, so just gonna turn this on here. end, I kind of thought you would be able to see a little more how it actually sucked up all the fumes. But I looked at the video and you couldn't see very much, but well, I don't know. How do you show how good a fan sucks on a video? Or like how strong a fan is or whatever. I don't know. But I'm just gonna say it works pretty well, and then obviously it's not gonna suck up everything, but it also does quite a lot just because it just ventilates the whole room really. Pulls in fresh air, but yeah, well, I'm gonna say this works really well actually, because this is, oh, I don't know, a long time after I put it up, so I used it quite a bit, and I gotta say it works really well actually. It's a strong fan, really ventilates it out. And if you've been cutting down here and then it's all dusty in there, and then you just leave this on for a few minutes, 5 minutes or something like that, it's a lot fresher air in here. It's pulled out most of that nasty, dusty air actually. But anyway, this is all finished and working, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.